Mr. O'Farrell, the floor is yours, sir, and welcome to all our guests.
I want to thank the tribal bird singers. I want to thank the tribal leaders who are here with us today, the Native American community assembled, allies, indigenous peoples everywhere. Council President Wesson, colleagues, esteemed guests in the chamber with us today, I want to officially welcome you to the 2016 American Indian Heritage Month celebration in the city of Los Angeles.
Let's give them a round of applause.
This year's theme, tribal traditions, past, present, and future. My remarks today will center around our past, our present, and our future. From the time in 1492 when Christopher Columbus set foot on what is historically referred to as Hispaniola, present-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic, he set in motion a complete annihilation of the original inhabitants of the island. The indigenous Taino, that was what they were called, were believed to have numbered at least 100,000 by most accounts and many hundreds of thousands more by other accounts. After they were conquered, enslaved, and summarily murdered for insubordination, less than a century later, there was literally no visible sign that they had ever existed. Their extinction led the Spanish to begin importing slaves from Africa to work the plantations and mine for gold and other minerals. During the French occupation, beginning in 1625, the African slave trade was accelerated, and we all know the history that followed. Columbus returned to the West Indies and Central and South America 3 more times, setting in motion the same systemic, violent process of dominance, slavery, and subjugation of indigenous people, setting in motion a centuries-long genocide unmatched in breadth and scale anywhere in recorded history. Although Christopher Columbus never set foot on the shores of North America, Native people here shared the same fate as those in the rest of the Western Hemisphere. Hundreds of years later, Spanish explorers came to California. By 1769, a system of 21 missions were becoming established, from San Diego to San Francisco. The purpose of the Spanish missions was to subjugate indigenous people to Spanish rule, forcibly convert them to Christianity, claim their land, set up farming, and enslave indigenous people to farm the land. Ironically, the settlements Native Californians were relocated to were called reductions. This lasted until 1833. As bad as all of this sounds, there are reams of documents describing the barbaric activities geared toward Native Americans in California that lasted hundreds of years through Spanish, Mexican, and U.S. rule. The facts are the facts. In the late 1800s, a false mythology set in that sought to rewrite the true history of colonization of the Western Hemisphere and rebrand the first contact of Columbus in 1492 and the genocide that followed as a discovery, by denying the facts and presenting a false narrative that portrayed a more benign history. During this period and into the early 20th century, after over 500 treaties between Native American tribes and the U.S. government had been broken, and every single treaty in U.S. history has been broken, and when Native Americans still didn't have the right to vote, when the Western Indian Wars were still being fought, when open hostility and discrimination against Native Americans was widespread in California and the rest of the country, this false mythology was allowed to take root. Native Americans had no power at any level of society or government. By 1937, after intense lobbying from the Knights of Columbus, Columbus Day was declared a federal holiday. History had been rewritten, the false mythology codified by our own government. The conquest of Americas was literally and figuratively complete once and for all. But colleagues, the truth is pesky, it is stubborn, and it is unrelenting. In this country, despite our own violent history, all of our setbacks, all of our struggles, there has always been an arc toward truth, enlightenment, fairness, equality, and healing. This past year, there was a tipping point across the United States to replace the federal Columbus Day holiday at the state and local level with Indigenous Peoples Day in states and in large and small cities across the country. And in places where the federal holiday wasn't officially observed, like Phoenix, Arizona, where October 12th has been officially designated as Indigenous Peoples Day. In Denver, Columbus Day was replaced, as it has been in most of the cities that have acted, including Seattle, Spokane, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Albuquerque. Vermont became the 5th state to designate October 12th as Indigenous Peoples Day, or a day to officially recognize its Native American origins on October 12th, as has South Dakota, Hawaii, Oregon, and Alaska. In Los Angeles County, the city of San Fernando has officially designated Indigenous Peoples Day, the first city in the county of Los Angeles to do so. This is a progressive, healing movement beginning to sweep across this great country of ours. Last year on this day, I introduced a motion to explore the possibility of Los Angeles following other cities and states to honor our own history. After several months, considerable outreach and stakeholder participation, a report was generated, and I do hope you all will take the time to read it. Our city is home to the largest indigenous population of any city in the United States. Los Angeles County has about 750,000 people of Native American heritage and many more hundreds of thousands of indigenous people from around the world who call Los Angeles home. It is a stark irony that in Los Angeles, sometimes thought of as ground zero of progressive movements, that we still have Columbus Day codified as an official city holiday. Every year, as we observe the Armenian genocide, the Holocaust, speak out against the myriad injustices that plague the world, let us remember that a powerful, offensive, and divisive symbol of the American genocide remains on our own administrative code as an official City of Los Angeles holiday. Colleagues, as the charade that is Columbus Day becomes more deeply understood, we have an opportunity to take action that is righteous and appropriate, and an action that I believe will be warmly received by most Angelenos. I look forward to continuing this discussion and to becoming part of the progressive shift that has already taken hold across this country. I thank you.
I'm here today because I believe that the City Council should change Columbus Day to Indigenous Day because I do not believe in celebrating sufferment.
I was strong feeling that this humble home of Los Angeles should stop celebrating Columbus Day and start celebrating the culture of Indigenous People Day.
Michelle Garcia, and I am here today because the City of Los Angeles should, in fact, replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Day because it will reveal a truth in history that has been hidden for multiple years.
Joe Barra. I am a faculty member at UCLA School of Law. I teach in the Immigrant Rights Clinic and also in the International Human Rights Clinic. I come today in support of Indigenous peoples.
There's nothing in this city that honors our people or recognizes our people, the first inhabitants, the founders of Los Angeles.
I've been teaching in college classrooms for 30 years as an American Indian Studies scholar. The legislation to establish Indigenous Peoples Day on October 12th is necessary, not only for our own Native peoples, but for our society as a whole.
Having an affinity toward Christopher Columbus, Columbus Day, America, or anything else that exudes pride in residing in this country is patriotism. Patriotism is also about being proud of our country's way of life, the evolution of our humanity, and embracing every individual that makes our country diverse and productive. Indigenous Day on the second Monday of October will provide us with an even richer history than what we have with Columbus Day. It will represent the people of our country pre-1776 and even 1492. By expanding our knowledge of the history, the full history of how this country was founded, we as citizens can assist in a healing process that will benefit Los Angeles, California, and beyond.
My name is Martin Sensmar. I'm of the Eagle Bear Clan from the Tlingit tribes of Alaska. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. We appreciate it, and I hope that we can get this changed in the name of humanity for all people, out of respect for not just Indigenous people, but all people. To me, Columbus, more than a person, represents an idea, and that idea is what is responsible for the decimation of our culture, our language, and our communities. And changing it is a major step in healing for all of us.
My name is Ann Potenza. I'm the president of Federated Italo-Americans, which represents 130 Italian-American organizations in Southern California. I would like to go on record that we fully support implementing Indigenous Peoples Day. The reason that we are in this building, the reason why our country was founded with the government that we are in right now is because of the beauty of immigration as well as appreciating the people that were here. I believe there should be recognition for both communities because we all are one here.
I'm honored to be here in front of you today. My name is Julia Perez Pacheco. I am 12 years old in 7th grade attending KIPP Academy of Innovation. I am a Quechua and Cora Huichol native from Peru and Mexico. I'm here today because I want to help raise awareness in my community about abolishing Christopher Columbus Day and making it into Indigenous Peoples Day. I am here on behalf of all the Indigenous children who cannot be here today and on behalf of the future generations. Columbus is someone we shouldn't be proud of. Indigenous people shouldn't be proud of an individual who took the identity of our people by taking away their cultures and practices. I encourage you to abolish Columbus Day forever so that the future generations don't have to be celebrating an individual who dishonored our people. Thank you for your time.